Deep underground, beneath the bustling city of Denver, the elevator descended for what felt like forever. Emma Walsh pressed her security card against the scanner one final time before the doors opened to reveal a sight that would shock any alien visitor to Earth. The cavern stretched out before her like an underground city, filled with the hum of advanced machinery and the glow of holographic displays that showed star maps no human was supposed to possess. 300 years had passed since the first alien ships arrived in Earth's skies. The creatures called themselves the Galactic Confederation, and they had been very clear about humanity's place in the universe. Humans were primitive. Humans were backward. Humans needed guidance and protection from their more advanced galactic neighbors. Most importantly, humans were not allowed to develop certain technologies that might threaten the delicate balance of galactic power. The surface world had accepted this arrangement. Cities around the globe displayed their carefully maintained level of technology, just advanced enough to seem impressive to other humans, but primitive enough to reassure their alien overseers. Fusion plants provided clean energy while alien. Trade representatives nodded approvingly. Space stations orbited Earth with simple designs that looked impressive, but were actually decades behind what the aliens considered modern. Everything was exactly as it should be, at least on the surface. But Emma knew better. As she walked through the massive underground complex, she passed laboratories where human scientists worked on projects that would terrify the Galactic Confederation. In one section, teams were perfecting quantum drives that could move ships faster than anything in the alien fleet. Another area housed the Neural Interface Project, where researchers had learned to connect human minds directly with computer systems in ways that made alien technology look clumsy and outdated. The deception had started small. When the aliens first arrived, a group of world leaders had made a secret decision. They would give the aliens exactly what they expected to see while building humanity's real future in hidden locations around the world. Underground facilities were carved out beneath major cities. Secret mining operations were established on the far side of the moon. Hidden research stations were built in the depths of Earth's oceans. Emma entered the central command room where dozens of technicians monitored displays showing the real state of human civilization. One screen tracked the secret colony on Mars that had been thriving for 50 years. Another showed the hidden fleet of advanced warships stationed beyond. Neptune, invisible to alien sensors thanks to revolutionary stealth technology. A third displayed the massive industrial complex built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, where humans manufactured weapons and equipment using principles the aliens had never discovered. Alex Rivera turned from his console as Emma approached. The commander of humanity's secret space forces looked tired but determined. His uniform bore no insignia that any alien would recognize, but every human in the underground facility knew who he was and what he represented. The latest reports from our outer system monitoring posts show increased alien patrol activity, Alex said, pulling up a holographic display of the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of alien ships, while blue dots showed the hidden human vessels shadowing them. They're getting suspicious about some of our energy signatures. Emma studied the display with concern. The masquerade had worked for 3 centuries, but it required constant vigilance. Every human achievement had to be hidden or disguised. Every technological breakthrough had to be carefully concealed. The aliens believed humans were struggling to master basic interplanetary travel, while the truth was that human ships could cross the galaxy faster than most alien vessels. "What about the Neural Network Project?" she asked, referring to one of humanity's most ambitious secret developments. Human scientists had discovered that their brains could interface with quantum computers in ways alien minds simply could not. The resulting hybrid intelligence systems could solve problems and make calculations that left even the most advanced alien computers far behind. "We've successfully linked 17 research facilities across 3 continents," Alex replied, his voice filled with quiet pride. The processing power we're generating is beyond anything the aliens have ever imagined. Our strategists can now run simulations of galactic political movements and predict alien actions weeks in advance. The underground facility around them represented just one node in humanity's hidden network. Similar complexes existed beneath every major city on Earth. Ocean floor installations provided additional manufacturing capacity, while orbital platforms, disguised as simple communications, satellites coordinated the global deception. The aliens saw what humans wanted them to see, while the real work of human advancement continued in secret. Emma walked to another section of the command center where displays showed humanity's true military strength. The secret fleet numbered in the thousands, from small scout ships that could slip past alien sensors undetected to massive dreadnoughts that could challenge any vessel in the alien fleet. Each ship was equipped with weapon systems based on principles the aliens had never encountered. Gravity manipulators could crush enemy vessels, while phase cannons could fire through solid matter to strike targets from impossible angles. But, perhaps most importantly, every human ship was connected to the neural network that gave human commanders advantages no alien fleet could match. Human intuition combined with quantum processing power created tactical possibilities that pure artificial intelligence or pure biological thinking could never achieve. "When do we reveal ourselves?" Alex asked. The question that had haunted human leadership for decades. Emma looked around the command center, taking in the displays that showed humanity's hidden strength spread across the solar system and beyond. Secret colonies were thriving on distant worlds. Hidden research stations were making breakthrough discoveries every day. The deception had allowed humanity to grow strong while their potential enemies remained unaware of the threat developing right under their noses. "Soon," she replied, though both of them knew that the decision would not be theirs to make. Somewhere above their heads, alien representatives were meeting with human leaders who played their roles as primitive planetary officials. The masquerade continued, but everyone involved knew it could not last forever. The question was whether humanity would choose the moment to reveal their true nature, or whether circumstances would force the truth into the open. Either way, the galaxy was about to discover that the species they had dismissed as primitive had grown far more powerful than anyone imagined. In the depths of the underground complex, the machines hummed with quiet efficiency, building the future that would soon reshape the balance of power among the stars. Maya Okafor had been staring at the same display screen for 6 hours straight, but what she was seeing made no sense at all. The monitoring station on Pluto's dark side was humanity's most distant early warning post, hidden from alien detection by layers of advanced stealth technology and the natural radio interference of the outer solar system. For 15 years, Maya had tracked every ship that entered or left human space, cataloging alien patrol routes and maintaining the careful illusion that Earth's space traffic was much simpler than it actually appeared. But the signals she was detecting now were completely different from anything in her databases. The energy signatures were massive, far larger than even the biggest alien dreadnoughts she had ever recorded. More disturbing was the way they moved through space, following flight patterns that seemed to ignore basic physics. Normal ships followed predictable trajectories based on gravity and momentum. These new contacts appeared and disappeared from her sensors like ghosts, jumping vast distances in seconds without any visible means of propulsion. Maya activated the emergency communication link that connected her station directly to the hidden command centers on Earth. The quantum entanglement communicator was one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets, allowing instant communication across any distance without the possibility of alien interception. Within moments, her findings were being analyzed by teams of experts in underground facilities around the world. The response came back faster than she had expected. Command wanted continuous monitoring of the unknown contacts with all available sensors. More importantly, they were activating other hidden observation posts throughout the outer solar system. Maya realized she was no longer the only human watching these mysterious visitors. Secret installations she had never known existed were coming online, turning their advanced sensors toward the approaching fleet. As the hours passed, more details became clear. The unknown ships were huge, some measuring 15 kilometers from bow to stern. Their hulls appeared to be constructed from materials that absorbed most forms of scanning, making detailed analysis nearly impossible. But what Maya could detect told a disturbing story. These vessels showed signs of incredible age and extensive battle damage. Massive sections of hull plating had been replaced with different materials. Weapon systems had been rebuilt using technology that did not match the original construction. Some ships showed blast craters that had been sealed but never properly repaired. The fleet was heading directly toward Earth, maintaining a formation that demonstrated tactical awareness and military discipline. Maya counted 37 individual vessels, though her sensors suggested there might be more ships hidden by advanced stealth systems. The unknown fleet was approaching at a steady pace that would bring them into Earth orbit within days. On Earth, emergency sessions were taking place in command centers that officially did not exist. Robert Hayes, the Supreme Commander of humanity's secret military forces, studied tactical displays while experts from every field of human knowledge worked to understand what they were facing. The alien databases that humans had secretly accessed over the centuries contained no references to ships matching these energy signatures. Whatever was approaching Earth came from outside the known galactic powers. The xenobiology teams were particularly puzzled by their analysis of the fleet. Dr. Walsh had been trying to identify the species that built these vessels, but every test came back with inconclusive results. The construction techniques were completely foreign to both human and alien technology. The power systems used principles that human scientists were only beginning to understand. Most disturbing of all, the ships appeared to be much older than any known civilization. Long-range scans revealed details that raised even more questions. The hull materials included elements that should not exist in nature, suggesting manufacturing capabilities far beyond anything humans had encountered. The weapon systems were based on energy manipulation techniques that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Some of the larger vessels showed modifications that appeared to have been made during flight, as if the ships had been rebuilt multiple times during a very long journey. Maya continued her vigil at the Pluto monitoring station, tracking the ghost fleet as it moved steadily closer to Earth. She had been joined by additional personnel who brought more advanced sensor equipment, but even their best efforts could not penetrate the mysterious nature of the approaching vessels. The ships seemed designed to resist detailed scanning, revealing just enough information to confirm their existence while hiding their true capabilities. The most unsettling aspect of the situation was the fleet's obvious knowledge of human space. The ships were approaching along trajectories that avoided both human and alien patrol routes. They seemed to know exactly where every military installation was located, including the secret bases that were supposed to be invisible to outside observation. Either the unknown visitors possessed scanning technology far superior to anything humanity had developed, or they already knew details about human civilization that should have been impossible to obtain. As the Ghost Fleet continued its approach, humanity faced a decision that would determine the future of their species. The careful masquerade that had protected them for 3 centuries was about to be tested by visitors whose intentions remained completely unknown. The aliens of the Galactic Confederation continued their normal activities, apparently unaware that something unprecedented was approaching Earth. Their sensors were not advanced enough to detect the Ghost Fleet, leaving humanity alone to decide how to respond. Maya watched her displays as the mysterious vessels entered the outer reaches of the solar system. Whatever was about to happen would change everything. The age of hiding in the shadows was coming to an end, and humanity would soon discover whether their secret preparations had been enough to protect them from threats they had never imagined. The countdown to contact had begun, and there was no way to predict what would happen when the Ghost Fleet finally reached Earth. The first sign that everything was about to change came at exactly 1432 Earth Standard Time, when every hidden human facility across the solar system received the same transmission simultaneously. Alex Rivera was reviewing defensive positions from the bridge of the Prometheus, humanity's most advanced warship, when the message appeared on screens throughout the secret fleet. The signal had bypassed every known form of communication technology and appeared directly on displays that were supposed to be completely isolated from external networks. The voice that spoke was clearly artificial, but it used perfect English, with subtle inflections that suggested deep understanding of human language patterns. What made the message even more unsettling was that analysis showed it was being transmitted on frequencies that should not have been possible to generate. The physics behind the communication system were beyond anything human science had achieved, despite centuries of secret research. "People of Earth," the voice began, using words that immediately told every human listener that the speaker knew far more than they should. "We have been watching your species for many years. We know of your hidden strength and the deception you have maintained. We know of your secret fleets and advanced technologies that you keep concealed from your galactic neighbors." Alex felt his blood grow cold as the implications became clear. The Ghost Fleet approaching Earth possessed detailed knowledge of humanity's most carefully guarded secrets. The masquerade that had protected his species for 3 centuries had been completely transparent to these mysterious visitors. Every hidden base, every secret weapon, every concealed achievement was known to the beings in the approaching ships. The transmission continued while human leaders around the world listened in growing alarm. "We are the remnant, survivors of a civilization that once made the same choices your people have made. We built our strength in secret while others believed us weak. We prepared for the day when deception would no longer serve our needs. That day came too late for our worlds, but perhaps it is not too late for yours." In the underground command centers, emergency protocols were being activated for the first time in human history. Robert Hayes was authorizing the implementation of Revelation Protocol, the plan that had been developed for the day when humanity's true nature would be exposed to the galaxy. The careful masquerade that had protected Earth for 3 centuries was about to end, and there was no way to predict what would happen next. The Ghost Fleet entered Earth orbit with precision that demonstrated complete knowledge of both human and alien installations. The massive vessels took positions that clearly showed tactical awareness of every defensive system and weapons platform in the solar system. More disturbing was their obvious knowledge of alien patrol schedules and monitoring stations. The remnant ships positioned themselves to remain invisible to Galactic Confederation sensors while maintaining clear communication with human facilities. Dr. Walsh was working frantically in her laboratory, analyzing every aspect of the remnant transmission while trying to understand the technology behind their communication system. The quantum mechanics involved were staggering, using principles that human scientists were only beginning to comprehend. The beings in the Ghost Fleet possessed scientific knowledge that was centuries ahead of anything humanity had achieved in secret. The second transmission came 12 hours after the first, this time with visual elements that showed the bridge of the remnant flagship. The being who appeared on human screens was clearly not human, but possessed a dignity and intelligence that commanded immediate respect. Her skin had a crystalline quality that seemed to absorb and reflect light in patterns that suggested complex internal structures. When she spoke, her words carried the weight of immense age and hard-won wisdom. "I am Nara of the vessel Eternal Vigil," she said, her voice now carrying emotional undertones that the artificial system had lacked. "Our civilization once controlled 17 star systems and possessed technology that could reshape matter at the quantum level. We believed that hiding our capabilities would protect us from those who would destroy what they could not control. We were wrong. The images that accompanied her words showed the remnants of worlds that had once been home to billions of beings. Shattered planets drifted through space while the twisted remains of once great cities floated among the debris. The destruction was complete and systematic, leaving nothing that could support life or continue the culture that had created it. The enemy that destroyed our worlds is called the Devourers, Nara continued, her crystalline features showing expressions of grief and determination. They consume entire civilizations, stripping worlds of resources and enslaving populations to serve their endless hunger for power. They have been pursuing us across the galaxy for centuries, and they are approaching this system. Alex Rivera felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders as he realized the full implications of what was happening. Humanity was about to face an enemy that had destroyed civilizations far more advanced than their own. The secret fleet that had been built to defend against known alien threats would be tested against something completely beyond their experience. Tapoi, activation of Revelation Protocol proceeded with mechanical efficiency as hidden systems across the solar system came online. On Earth's surface, camouflaged facilities began powering up, while underground complexes revealed their true purposes. The careful illusion of human technological limitation crumbled as advanced defensive systems emerged from concealment. Launch. Bays that had been disguised as geological features opened to reveal sleek warships. Weapons platforms that had masqueraded as communications satellites began charging their quantum cannons. The Galactic Confederation monitoring stations exploded with alerts as energy signatures beyond their comprehension bloomed across human space. Ambassador Krell, the senior alien representative on Earth, watched his displays in shock as the primitive species he had been assigned to monitor revealed technology that surpassed anything in the alien fleet. The humans he had dismissed as backward children possessed capabilities that could threaten any civilization in the galaxy. Emergency sessions were convening in alien government centers across multiple worlds as the implications of humanity's revelation became clear. The species they had controlled and patronized for centuries possessed hidden strength that fundamentally altered the balance of galactic power. Every treaty, every agreement, every assumption about human capabilities would need to be reconsidered. But the immediate threat was not from humanity's former overseers. Long-range sensors were detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the solar system as the enemy that had been pursuing the remnant finally arrived. The Devourers had tracked their prey across the galaxy and were now preparing to add Earth to their collection of consumed worlds. The masquerade was over, but the real test was just beginning. The first Devourer ships materialized at the edge of the solar system like nightmares given form. Unlike the elegant vessels of the Galactic Confederation or the advanced but recognizable technology of the remnant fleet, these new arrivals seemed to violate basic principles of engineering and design. Their hulls were organic in appearance, covered with growths and protrusions that pulsed with sickly light. The largest vessels stretched across 20 kilometers of space, their surfaces writhing with activity that suggested they were as much living creatures as constructed machines. Emma Walsh watched the tactical displays from the main command center. Beneath Geneva, her scientific mind struggling to comprehend what the sensors were reporting. The Devourer fleet numbered over 300 vessels, but their behavior was unlike anything in human military databases. Instead of maintaining standard formations, they moved in patterns that resembled hunting packs. Individual ships would break away from the main group to probe defenses before returning to share information with the collective. What made the situation even more disturbing was the way the Devourer technology seemed to adapt and change during observation. Ship configurations that appeared stable one moment would shift and transform the next, as if the vessels were constantly rebuilding themselves. Weapon systems would appear and disappear along hull surfaces while propulsion methods changed from moment to moment. The enemy fleet seemed to exist in a state of continuous evolution. Alex Rivera, coordinated humanity's response from the Prometheus while trying to process tactical information that challenged every assumption about space warfare. The Devourer. Vessels showed no interest in standard military tactics. They did not establish supply lines or defensive positions. Instead, they seemed to feed on energy itself, growing stronger as they consumed power from any available source. Several outer system monitoring stations had already gone silent after reporting massive energy drains that left their fusion reactors completely depleted. The integration with remnant technology was proceeding at desperate speed as human and alien scientists worked together to combine their different approaches to quantum mechanics and energy manipulation. Nara had brought her people's most advanced research data, but even their centuries of preparation had not been enough to defeat the Devourers in direct combat. The key to survival lay in finding new approaches that neither species could achieve alone. Dr. Walsh led the effort to merge human neural interface technology with remnant quantum processing systems. The results were beyond anything either species had imagined possible. Human intuition, guided by alien computational power, created hybrid intelligence systems that could analyze and respond to threats faster than purely biological or artificial minds. The combination allowed tactical decisions to be made in microseconds while maintaining the creativity and adaptability that purely mechanical systems lacked. The first direct engagement came when a group of Devourer scouts entered the outer system. These smaller vessels, each roughly the size of a human destroyer, moved through space with predatory grace as they searched for signs of resistance. Alex launched a squadron of human stealth ships enhanced with remnant phase-shifting technology, creating a force that could appear and disappear at will while striking from impossible angles. The battle that followed defied every rule of space, combat that human tacticians had studied. The Devourer scouts did not simply fight back when attacked. They seemed to learn and adapt with each exchange of fire. Weapons that damaged them in the first few seconds became less effective as their hulls shifted and changed to resist similar attacks. But the hybrid human remnant systems proved equally adaptive, using quantum calculations to predict enemy modifications and counter them before they could be fully implemented. When the last scout ship finally succumbed to concentrated fire from phase cannons and gravity weapons, the victory felt hollow. The enemy vessels had transmitted continuous data streams back to the main fleet, sharing everything they had learned about human and remnant capabilities. The next engagement would be against an enemy that had adapted specifically to counter the tactics that had just proved successful. Robert Hayes studied the tactical assessments from his command post, while refugee populations from the remnant fleet were integrated into human facilities. The alien survivors brought with them not just advanced technology, but also centuries of experience fighting an enemy that had consumed dozens of civilizations. Their knowledge was invaluable, but it also painted a grim picture of what humanity was facing. The Devourers did not simply conquer worlds. They consumed them completely. Entire planets were stripped of resources while populations were processed into biological components for the ever-growing fleet. The enemy possessed no recognizable culture or government structure. They existed only to feed and expand, growing stronger with every civilization they encountered. Negotiation was impossible because the Devourers viewed all other life as nothing more than potential fuel for their endless hunger. But the integration of human and remnant capabilities was producing unexpected results. Human creativity combined with alien precision created tactical possibilities that neither species could achieve alone. The neural interface systems allowed human commanders to process information at speeds that matched or exceeded enemy adaptation rates. For the first time in centuries, the Remnant had found allies who could match their technological sophistication while bringing completely new approaches to combat. The second wave of attacks began when Devourer assault ships entered the middle system. These larger vessels carried the lessons learned from the scout engagement. Their hulls already adapted to resist the weapons that had been used earlier. But human tacticians were ready with new approaches based on quantum mechanics research that had been accelerated by remnant knowledge. Gravity manipulation systems created space-time distortions that the enemy ships could not adapt to quickly enough to avoid. The battle for Jupiter's orbital space lasted 18 hours and demonstrated both the potential and the limitations of the Human Remnant Alliance. The enemy was incredibly adaptable and seemed to possess unlimited resources, but their reliance on energy consumption created vulnerabilities that could be exploited by commanders who understood quantum physics. Each victory came at a high cost, but each engagement also provided new data about enemy capabilities and weaknesses. As the main Devourer fleet began moving toward Earth, both human and remnant forces prepared for the final confrontation that would determine the survival of both civilizations. The careful masquerade that had hidden humanity's true strength was now completely irrelevant. The question was whether the combined forces of two species could overcome an enemy that had already destroyed far more advanced civilizations than either had achieved alone. The final battle began with a silence that stretched across the entire solar system. Every human monitoring station, every remnant sensor array, and even the primitive detection systems of the Galactic Confederation registered the same phenomenon. The Devourer main fleet had stopped moving. For 6 hours, the massive armada hung motionless at the edge of the system, while smaller vessels emerged from within the larger ships like insects from a disturbed hive. Emma Walsh realized what was happening before anyone else. The enemy was not preparing for a conventional assault. They were transforming the entire fleet into a single massive organism dedicated to the complete consumption of everything in the solar system. Individual ship boundaries were dissolving as the vessels merged and connected through organic conduits that pulsed with energy. The Devourers were preparing to feed on an unprecedented scale. Alex Rivera watched the transformation from the bridge of the Prometheus, while final preparations were completed for humanity's desperate gamble. The combined human remnant research teams had discovered something that changed everything about their understanding of the enemy. The Devourer's ability to consume energy had a critical vulnerability that neither species could have exploited alone, but which their hybrid systems could turn into a devastating weapon. The breakthrough had come when human neural interface technology was combined with remnant quantum processors to create feedback loops that could overload energy absorption systems. The principle was simple in theory, but incredibly complex in practice. By generating specific frequencies through quantum entanglement fields, the hybrid systems could cause the Devourer's feeding mechanisms to consume themselves rather than external energy sources. The challenge was delivering the effect across the vast distances of space, while maintaining the precise calculations needed to penetrate enemy defenses. Nara of the Eternal Vigil had volunteered to lead the first phase of the assault, using her ship's advanced quantum systems to establish the resonance patterns that would make the feedback attack possible. Her vessel, enhanced with human neural interface technology, could now process calculations at speeds that exceeded even the most advanced Devourer adaptation systems. The crystalline structure of her people's minds proved perfectly compatible with human quantum consciousness techniques, creating a form of hybrid intelligence that surpassed what either species could achieve alone. The battle commenced when the Devourer superorganism began moving toward Earth at speeds that defied conventional physics. The merged fleet had become something that was part machine, part living creature, and part energy construct. Its approach created gravitational disturbances that affected planetary orbits, while its hunger for energy drained power from every artificial source within range. Human stealth ships, now equipped with remnant phase drive technology, struck first to establish quantum entanglement points throughout the enemy formation. These tiny vessels, crewed by volunteers who knew they might not survive the mission, penetrated deep into the organic structure of the superorganism while transmitting targeting data back to the main fleet. Their sacrifice created the network of quantum connections that would make the final attack possible. The counter-assault began with conventional weapons as human and remnant forces engaged the outer defenses of the devourer organism, quantum cannons, and gravity manipulators carved through enemy tissue while phase torpedoes struck at critical energy distribution nodes. But the real purpose of the attack was to force the superorganism to begin consuming energy at maximum capacity, making it vulnerable to the feedback effect that Dr. Walsh's teams had discovered. Alex led the final assault personally, taking a combined task force directly into the heart of the enemy organism. The Prometheus, now equipped with hybrid human remnant systems, could phase between dimensions while maintaining quantum entanglement with every other ship in the fleet. As the massive vessel penetrated the core of the superorganism, its neural interface systems began generating the specific frequencies needed to trigger the feedback cascade. The effect was beyond anything the human commanders had expected. The Devourer's energy absorption systems, designed to consume entire star systems, began feeding on themselves in an uncontrolled chain reaction. The superorganism started collapsing inward as its own feeding mechanisms turned against its internal energy sources. Massive sections of the merged fleet simply dissolved as the feedback effect spread through the quantum connections that had been established by the sacrificial stealth ships. The final moments of the battle lasted only minutes, but they reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy forever. When the last traces of the Devourer superorganism finally dispersed into space, they left behind a combined human remnant fleet that possessed technological capabilities far beyond anything the known galactic civilizations had achieved. The desperate alliance forced by survival had created innovations that neither species could have developed alone. The aftermath brought challenges that were almost as complex as the battle itself. The Galactic Confederation, faced with evidence of humanity's true technological level and their alliance with an advanced refugee civilization, was forced to completely reconsider every aspect of their relationship with Earth. The species they had patronized for centuries now possessed fleets that could threaten any world in known space. Robert Hayes found himself negotiating with alien diplomats who were struggling to understand how profoundly their assumptions had been proven wrong. Humanity was no longer a primitive species in need of guidance. The hidden strength that had been developed over 3 centuries had been revealed in the most dramatic way possible. Every treaty would need to be renegotiated. Every agreement would need to account for the new reality of human capabilities. But perhaps more importantly, the alliance with the Remnant had created possibilities that extended far beyond military power. The combination of human adaptability with alien precision had produced scientific breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. Hybrid technologies were already being developed that could revolutionize everything from space travel to planetary engineering. Nara stood beside Emma in the main command center as they watched the combined fleet take defensive positions throughout the solar system. The immediate threat had been eliminated, but both species understood that their victory had attracted attention from across the galaxy. Other civilizations would want to understand how the Devourers had been defeated. Some would seek alliance, while others might view the human remnant partnership as a threat to their own power. Your people chose deception over submission, Nara observed, her crystalline features reflecting the light from the tactical displays. Mine chose exile over extinction. Together, we have discovered that there are more options available than either of us imagined. The age of human deception was over. The careful masquerade that had protected Earth for 3 centuries had been abandoned in the face of an existential threat. But the truth that had been revealed was more powerful than the deception that had hidden it. Humanity had not only survived their first contact with a galactic-level threat, but had formed an alliance that fundamentally altered what was possible for both species. The galaxy would never be the same. The balance of power had shifted in ways that no one could have predicted. And at the center of it all, the species that had once been dismissed as primitive had proven that sometimes the greatest strength comes from rising from the shadows when the universe least expects it.